What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. I'm going to throw out a disclaimer before this video does start. This is your warning if you get uncomfortable with topics surrounding sexual assault, rape, or anything of the matter. Please tread with caution as you watch and listen to what I have to say in this video. This video is about former Brigham Young University starting quarterback Jake Retzlaff, and it's one of the biggest situations and events going on right now in the collegiate athletic realm. We're going to dive into some more detail later on in this video, but I do want to give you the Cliff Notes version. About a month ago, there was a civil sexual assault lawsuit filed against Jake Retzlaff by a woman who will not be named. We will call her Jane Doe. In that lawsuit, the woman alleged that Jake Retzlaff strangled, bit, and then raped her back in November of 2023. Retzlaff and an attorney representing him, of course, initially denied those claims, but did admit that Retzlaff had consensual sex with the woman. And whether it was rape, whether it was consensual sex, doesn't matter. All of it violates BYU's school code of honor, because being owned by the Church of Latter-day Saints, premarital sex is, for lack of better terminology, very, very frowned upon. So because of breaking the school's code of honor, Retzlaff was facing a 7-game suspension and has decided to up and leave the program, entering his name into the transfer portal, and is in search of going to a Power 4 school with desperate need for a starting quarterback in hopes of playing some college football outside of Provo, Utah for the upcoming 2025 college football season. We're going to talk about the football aspect a little bit later, but you have to talk about the things bigger than football right now. Now, I want to tell you where I'm going to be getting a lot of my information. There are two sources in which I am getting so. The first one is an article co-written by Kyle Bonagura and Pete Thamel on ESPN, and the other is from a Twitter user, a site, or I should say an account called College Football Nerds, who explain the legal jargon of things very, very well. So hopefully it'll clear up some confusion if anything I say from the ESPN article is a little bit topsy-turvy. Now, the court case in the suit has since been dismissed. I'll talk about why that's a little misleading in just a little bit, but I do want to read what was in the court case just so all of you can get a picture of what exactly happened. So as I already mentioned, the woman, who again we will call Jane Doe, alleged that Retzlaff raped, strangled, and bit her in November of 2023. The two people, Retzlaff and the woman, connected through social media. Both the complaint and the response both did agree to that, which led to her visiting Retzlaff's apartment to play video games on or around November 22nd, 2023. The woman arrived with a friend, and friends and teammates of Retzlaff were also present at the place. Later that evening, the woman's friend left, after which Retzlaff and the woman started watching a movie and began to kiss. While Retzlaff began escalating the situation, in direct quotes, Jane Doe tried to de-escalate the situation and attempted to slow things down, trying to pull away and saying, "Wait." She did not want to do anything sexual with him, saying things like, "Wait, stop, no," but he continued to force himself upon her. Again, still talking about what the lawsuit is saying. After she tried to get up out of bed, the lawsuit alleges in graphic detail that Retzlaff put his hands around her neck and proceeded to rape her. Okay, let's take a pause right there. Whoa. Whoa. That is really serious stuff. You don't play with that. That is really, really serious. That is really unfortunate that, again, Jake Retzlaff would allegedly do that to a woman. It is really unfortunate that I have to sit here and even talk about one of the beloved athletes at a university doing something so heinous. It is so unfortunate, and it is so, so serious. You never take these things lighthearted, ever. Absolutely ever. You take every situation of this magnitude with utmost importance, and that's exactly what BYU did. After the lawsuit was filed, BYU issued a statement saying, quote, "The university takes any allegation very seriously, following all processes and guidelines mandated by Title IX." And then, of course, they do the traditional thing: "We will provide no further comment at this matter." Retzlaff is not the first high-profile BYU athlete this has happened to. Back in 2011, a basketball player in Brandon Davies was dismissed from the team because of premarital sex. And back in 1999, a running back in Reno Mahe was suspended from the school, forced to leave the football team. He then transferred over to a junior college and re-enrolled at BYU, I believe, the very next season. Retzlaff, again, was the starting quarterback last season. And again, we'll talk about the football aspect of this a little bit later. But the response in the whole court case, so I've already told you Jane Doe's side of things, again, alleging strangulation, biting, and just full-on rape, unconsensual sex. Retzlaff and his team are arguing, no, it was consensual sex, and it's even acknowledged that the two parties shared very lighthearted text messages back and forth on social media platforms after the incident happened. So you definitely got to throw that wrench into the mix of everything there as well. Again, the response also indicated that this was an extortion attempt on Jake Retzlaff because he was becoming an NFL caliber player, and the woman, in the definition of extortion, was trying to get some money out of him and his team. Okay, another very serious accusation. First off, you have a woman claiming that a man has raped her. Already really serious. You then have the party surrounding the man come back and saying, actually, that's not correct. You're trying to extort my client, and I think you're wrong. You just want some money. All right, let's take a step back for a second and process all of that. Okay, processed? Probably not, but there was a lot of confusing legal jargon spilled out throughout the case, and now I'm going to be reading from College Football Nerds. You want to go find them. It's at CFB Nerds, capital CFB Nerds on Twitter. Very, very good. What's the word I am looking for? Very, very good account, very, very good profile to go and follow. So, again, there was a lot of confusion, but there was dismissal with prejudice with this case, which is important. Both sides filed for a motion of dismissal with prejudice, and what that almost always means is that there was an out-of-court settlement. It's not going to be public. The case is not dropped. It is not dropped. What is more likely to have happened is that Jake Retzlaff settled, which, again, College Football Nerds goes on to explain a little bit later. All right, again, going to be reading directly from the Twitter account here. They list off 4 things, but there are a set of things to know, is exactly what they say. 1, by all accounts, the ruling was responsive to both sides jointly requesting dismissal, and this wasn't the judge truly ruling on anything. 2, several reports have been noted, the order saying that both sides bear their own attorney fees. That's just the default in civil cases, and so on and so forth. 3, all of the above is an extremely typical mechanism of how you close a case when an out-of-court settlement is reached. And 4, given the above, the default take as a lawyer is absolutely that Retzlaff settled. That should be the default here. You should assume nothing else unless you are given sufficient evidence to prove otherwise. They go on to say, again, the phrase of dismissal with prejudice and upon the merits of the plaintiff's complaint against the defendant is legalese, which just means the judge has agreed to both parties' request to end the case and to never bring suit on the same facts again. And talking about the plaintiff and the woman not allowed to sue for this again. Basically what that means. The normal process of settlement is that you first reach an out-of-court agreement. Maybe she got a ton of money. Maybe she got an agreement not to be countersued. Maybe she got a restraining order. Who knows? And we probably never will. The agreement requires the parties to end the cases and to never bring it again. So, for example, if Jake agrees to pay a sum of money, they in turn both also agree to request that the above language be entered so that the plaintiff is legally barred from suing Retzlaff on the merits again. And if there is still any confusion, they go ahead and say this. Generally speaking, parties can't just end a suit on their own, even if they all want to. The judge owns the case, and you must request the judge dismiss the case if you want to end it. So basically what happened is both parties were like, hey, let's just settle on this whole thing and go about our merry days. The woman clearly would have had to get something, whether it was money, a restraining order, it basically an agreement that she wouldn't be countersued if, again, Retzlaff and his team, which I don't necessarily see as the most likely situation, but definitely is one to where, I mean, if Retzlaff and his team are like, yeah, this woman is just talking out of her butt and doesn't know what she's talking about and really is trying the extortion attempt, then there was the agreement not to be countersued. Probably, in my mind, a little bit more likely, restraining order, some money, whatever have you. Now, I'm not taking sides here. You shouldn't either. If you want to, go ahead. I'm not going to bar you from doing so. You have the free will to think whatever you want. Both allegations from both parties are very, very serious. Make no mistake, they are wickedly serious. Rape and sexual assault allegations are not to be taken lightly ever by anyone. Doesn't matter your race, gender, sex, who cares? Who cares? It is to be taken with utmost importance and sincerity. Now, then, doubling down on the whole thing from Retzlaff party and saying, yeah, no, that was actually consensual. As a matter of fact, you're trying to play me for some money. That is also really, really serious stuff to bring about. Now, if the court case was going to move further and progress farther, then maybe there would have been a counter lawsuit, and then that's an even bigger mess. Or maybe, we would have actually been given some public information as to what the woman did receive. We may very well get that eventually, maybe later on down the line, although I would not expect to receive anything of the notion anytime in the near future. So overall, what it means, guys, very, very serious stuff. And no matter what side you take, if you even take a side, I don't think you should, but you do whatever it is that you feel is right and aligns with your values. I'm just here to report on it. One party said, hey, he raped me. The other party said, no, I didn't. You're trying to extort some money out of me. I don't like it. We're going to countersue you. And then some agreement got reached there. So, yeah, just crazy stuff. Really, really is crazy stuff. And overall, as an entire situation, it is just so unfortunate. It really, really is, because now the career and the image surrounding Jake Retzlaff, who up to this point, from what I understand, was a very upstanding, bright, smart, intelligent young man that now is going to have his career and reputation tainted forever. And it doesn't matter if everything gets proven false. Well, maybe that does matter a little bit, but at least in the very near future, and maybe even I would argue for the long-term future as well, having that on your record is just not going to look good, no matter if it was dropped, dismissed, whatever it may be. You put yourself in a situation to where that could happen. Now, on the other side of things, whether it was an actual rape case, we hope that it will get handled as such. And again, who knows? No charges of any sort have come against Jake Retzlaff at this time. We'll see if the judge decides anything further, but if then it does get proven to be an extortion attempt, I mean, just what a big mess, and how unfortunate that you had to put Jake Retzlaff through that situation. No matter what it is just simply an unfortunate situation that, in my opinion, bottom line, is absolutely going to taint the career of a quarterback that had a really promising season last year. Now let's dive on into the football side of things. What does this mean for BYU? Well, I talked about it a little bit in my BYU prediction video. If you would like to, go check that out. And I know what people are going to probably ask me to do and tell me, yeah, no, I am not going to be redoing BYU's prediction video. That is just not happening. It's not going to affect the final record of BYU. It's not going to affect the way I see other teams competing against BYU, because bottom line, guys, BYU does still have a lot of really, really good pieces, really, no matter who the quarterback is. It is so unfortunate that it will not be Jake Retzlaff. LJ Martin is a really good running back. You have Cody Hagan, JoJo Phillips, and especially Chase Roberts as some really good pieces in that wide receiver room. Your defense has got a lot of really good pieces, especially in that defensive front and in that secondary as well. And BYU, with Jake Retzlaff, again, were this close last season to playing for a Big 12 championship game and the hope to go to the college football playoff. It did not pan out that way, and BYU felt like with everything they had coming back, they were in a really good position to try to push for that this upcoming season. You want to go back to the basketball player I had mentioned earlier. That basketball situation happened at BYU back in 2011 with Brandon Davies when the team was 27-2 and ranked number 3 in the country and one of the favorites to go win the national championship. So again, not unusual at all to see this university say, "Oh, we're so close," but you have to take these things seriously. And of course, the school has got to uphold its code of honor. Athletes should not be held in a better spotlight than anybody else. Although, again, I'll sit here and admit, oftentimes they all are. We all know this. I think that is common knowledge. I don't think that should be a shock to anybody, but in case it is, again, just go back and look through, especially the professional sports ranks. There are a lot of times where athletes get off the hook of stuff that most people would not be getting off the hook from. So take that with a grain of salt, if you will. Just figured I would throw that point out there. Additionally, what does it mean for BYU for the quarterback position? Well, you still do have some solid options that are going to be sitting in this quarterback room to try to take over for Jake Retzlaff. Their names are as follows: McKay Hillstead, Trayson Bourgeau, Bourget, apologies, and then Bear Bachmeyer, who actually transferred over this spring over from Stanford. So look, you're already through the winter. You're already through the spring. You're getting into summer camps. Now, BYU was off for summer camps until July 7th when the workouts were going to resume. And as of recording this video, about a month from now. But now you're going to have to try to put a new starting quarterback into this system, and a starting quarterback that I don't know has thrown a super meaningful collegiate pass. I actually am going to look and see who the main guy was behind Retzlaff last season. And yeah, so no other quarterback on the roster threw a pass for BYU last season. So a big wrench has been thrown into BYU's plans, and I think their hopes and odds of getting into a Big 12 title game have to be pretty severely diminished at this point. But now you're going to look at another program that is likely going to land Jake Retzlaff. Whatever those programs are, I have no idea. Not my job to sit here and try to guess. Also, not what this video is about. Are teams going to take a chance on Jake Retzlaff? Are they going to say, yeah, that's really unfortunate what happened to you. We're going to take a chance on you. Would you like to come be the starting quarterback at insert university here? We'll see what happens. We absolutely will see what happens. If I were to put a guess on something, my guess would probably be Jake Retzlaff lands with another program before the 2025 season starts, just knowing how the transfer portal and things of this nature have gone before. And again, not saying that there's been a situation quite like this. A lot of heavy accusations being thrown around. I think you got to take both sides extremely, extremely seriously. And this is absolutely not a situation that you mess with in any sense. Again, I will finish by saying overall that this is just an unfortunate situation. No matter how you look at it, I feel for the family and friends of Jane Doe. I feel for the family and friends of Jake Retzlaff. I feel for everybody involved with the university. I actually tried to wear a color shirt that best matches. I mean, hey, look at that. That's pretty close. That's pretty close. But I look, this is just such an unfortunate situation. It's unfortunate I had to sit up here and talk about it and explain it to all of you because bottom line, none of this should have happened. It just really, really shouldn't have. You can argue, well, he shouldn't have put himself in that situation. You can argue, well, if nothing happened, why did she come to the court? It's just, it really is such an unfortunate situation. Again, I'm not here to take sides. I'm not, again, both sides have you can't necessarily, in my opinion, you can't necessarily assume one party is more right than the other. You have to take everything into consideration, pile up the evidence, and then make a decision based off of what you find. Obviously, we'll see if anything else comes from this court case. If it does, you'll probably see a community post and things on Twitter and Instagram and whatnot. But again, at the very end of the day, I'll say it probably one final time here. Just an unfortunate situation all the way around. Retzlaff's live has now forever been changed, and we'll see if another program and another school is going to take a chance on him and try to bring him into their program to be a starting quarterback. If, again, you want my personal opinions and beliefs, I believe that there will be. And again, I'm not going to sit here and say one thing or the other happened without seeing some sufficient proof and evidence. If we get it, who knows? But you just can't take sides and stuff like this until you know the full truth. And right now, you can only speculate what each side is saying, because each side is saying something totally different. And it is really, really hard to try to draw a conclusion from right now. But the only conclusion you can draw is that BYU will be without Jake Retzlaff, which I believe is a massive blow to their Big 12 championship hopes. Please let me know any additional information you found out about this case that I did not mention, so A, I can learn about it, and B, the fine people also watching this video can know about it. And just overall, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Support the channel however you may, and thank you so much for clicking on this video and hearing to what I have to say. Remember to play hard but tailgate harder. Prediction season is back with some more videos coming out tomorrow. Goodbye.